Swami Nigamananda Paramahansa was a sadguru, a yogi and a Hindu spiritual leader well known in eastern India. He was a guru, a Hindu philosopher associated with the Shakti cult and viewed as a perfect spiritual master of tantra, gyan, yoga and prema or bhakti. His followers idealized him as their worshipped and beloved thakura. Nigamananda was born into a Brahmin family in the hamlet of Kutabpur in Nadia district. He was a sannyasi from Shankar's cult. After his ordination as a sannyasi he came to be known as Paribrajakacharya Paramahansa Srimat Swami Nigamananda Saraswati Deva, AAAANAAA currency OEA currency AAA currency SHAAAN currency AAAN Euro AAAN Euro AAA currency AAAN Euro AANA. Nigamananda's followers believe that he achieved siddhi in 4 different sadhanas: tantra, gyan, yoga and prema. Based on these experiences, he wrote 5 Bengali language books: Brahmacharya Sajana, Yogi Guru, Gyani Guru, Tantrika Guru, and Premic Guru. Nigamananda reportedly experienced the state of nirvikalpa samadhi. After retiring from Saraswati, Nigamananda spent the last 14 years of his life in Paribrajakacharya and Mohanty, a school student, met him at Nilashala Kutia in 1930 and recognized him as sadguru. Mohanty became Nigamananda's disciple and wrote books for Nigamananda's establishment Nilashala Saraswati Sangha and translated Nigamananda's Bengali books into Odia. Under Mohanty's encouragement, more than 100 ashrams operate in Orissa. Mohanty continued to spread the message of Nigamananda until his death on December 7, 1985. Life = childhood, studies and service. Life = At his birth, Nigamananda was named Nalanikanta, per the wishes of his father, Bhuban Mohan and the advice of his father's guru, Swami Bhaskarananda Saraswati. At the age of 13 Nalanikanta lost his mother Manikya Sundari Devi to cholera, pushing him into depression. Indiana, 1894-95. He passed the student scholarship examination and studied at Mipa High School. In 1895 he entered Dhaka Engineering College. In 1897 his father married him to a 13-year-old girl named Sujhan Subala Devi of Halisaha. He completed his study in 1899 and joined a service in the district board of Dinajar, the estate of Rani Rashmani. At the end of Vadra, 1901, when he was serving as the supervisor of the Narayanpur estate, Nalanikanta saw the shadowy image of his wife standing at the table glowering and silent while she was away at Kutabpur. He went to Kutabpur to inquire and learned that she had died just an hour before his vision. He unsuccessfully attempted to reach his wife through occult science. Turning point until he lost his wife, Nalanikanta had seen death as the ultimate end. Losing her led him to believe that there must be life after death. Nalanikanta became obsessed with this question. His inquiry took him to Madras to study theosophy at the Theosophical Society at Adyur. Through a medium, he was able to talk to his wife, but remained unsatisfied. His discussions at the society led him to search for a yogi who could fulfill his desire to meet his dead wife and educate him in the true philosophy of life after death. Spiritual experience. One night Nalanikanta dreamed of a sadhu with a brilliant aura. He woke up to find the sadhu standing beside his bed. The sadhu handed him a bale leaf with a mantra written on it and then vanished. Nalanikanta asked many to help him understand its meaning. Finally he met Bhamakhepa, a famous tantric of Tarapith, Birbhum district. Nalanikanta took initiation from Bhamakhepa and was directed to chant his mantra for 21 days. Under Bhamakhepa unregistered trademark guidance he had physical darshan of Tara Devi in the form of his wife. This darshan led him to another mystery. He saw Tara Devi coming out of his body and mingling with him. To solve this mystery, Bhamakhepa advised Nalanikanta to attain the knowledge of Advaita from a Vedantic guru. In 1902 he searched for a Jnani guru. He met Guru Satchidananda Saraswati at the holy place of Pushkar in the Indian state of Rajasthan. He realized that Satchidananda Saraswati was the sadguru who had given him the Tara mantra in his dream. Nalanikanta became his disciple, and learned the theories of Brahma, Brahma Sutras and Vedanta. He was initiated by the Satchidananda into renunciation and according to that principle changed his name to Nigamananda. Satchidananda directed Nigamananda to undertake pilgrimages to the 4 institutions of religious seats and realize for himself the significance of each, as the Hindus held these places of worship sacred. After these pilgrimages, he returned to the ashram. On his arrival at the ashram, Satchidananda reviewed Nigamananda unregistered trademark as pilgrimages and said, "My boy, you have traveled widely and seen the religious places and acquired knowledge and experience. All that I had to teach you has been accomplished, but it is for you now to put my teachings into practice. You have to experience for yourself the truth of your being, and this can only be done through concerted effort as well as the practice and observance of yogic principles. Thus you now have to seek out a guru who will provide you the proper guidance in this line." Again Nigamananda went out to seek a guru. In 1903 he met a yogi guru whom he called Sumaru Dasji. Nigamananda was accepted as his disciple. Under Das's guidance he learned yoga. After hard practice, in the month of Paush 1904, Nigamananda was able to master Savikalpa Samadhi. Soon after Nigamananda desired to experience the state of Nirvikalpa, the most advanced of yogic samadhis at Kamakshaya, Guwahati, Assam. Nigamananda followers believe that he did enter by way of this samadhi and was returned into his body with a residual consciousness of "I am the master" or guru, and in yoga he had visualized and practically understood in his own body his guru's Vedic knowledge. The place Nirvikalpa Samadhi experienced by Swami Nigamananda has been identified. Assam Governor Janaki Ballabh Patnaik inaugurated the Nirvikalpa Siddhisthal of Swami Nigamananda at Nilachal Hills in Kamakgodam, Guwahati on December 20, 2012. In 1904, he was in Kashi, when goddess Annapurna appeared in another dream and told him that his knowledge was limited to formless God and not gone beyond that, hence he was still incomplete. He accepted her challenge and travelled to Gauri Devi to learn Bhavasajana. Gauri Devi accepted him as disciple and taught him bhakti or prema to understand the physical world as the transformation of God in Bhavasajana. Nigamananda's long and continued search for his guru resembled the search undertaken by his future disciples to find him. Recognition as Paramahansa. In 1904 Nigamananda went to Allahabad to see Kumar Mela and learned that his master Satchidananda was in the area, staying with Sankaracharya of Srinamatha. He found Sankaracharya sitting on an elevated throne surrounded by 125 monks, including his guru. Seeing him, Nigamananda went first to pay his respects to his guru, and then to the higher-ranking mahant. The sadguru were upset by this perceived disrespect in not honouring the mahant first, but in response Nigamananda quoted the scripture, Manatha Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Zalvaputatma Tasmai Shri Gurade Namaha, meaning, "My Guru's highest in whole world, hence I should respect my Guru first." Nigamananda further explained to the sadguru assemblies that on the basis of the Vedanta philosophy there was no difference between his Guru and Jagadguru. Jagadguru Sankaracharya endorsed this response and recognized Nigamananda as one who had achieved spiritual enlightenment. Jagadguru conferred him with the title Paramahansa, and came to known as Paribrajakacharya Paramahansa Srimat Swami Nigamananda Saraswati Deva. Death. Nigamananda spent the last 14 years of his life in Pari. He died in Calcutta on November 29, 1935. Nigamananda's followers honor his memory, and gather at annual congregations, and other ceremonial occasions. His ashram at Halisaha, Saraswati Matha and Jahat and Sundarbans are places of pilgrimage. Mission. Nigamananda's mission was to propagate Sanatana Dharma, the spiritual foundation of the Hindu religion, to spread the right kind of education among people, to publish spiritual literature with emphasis on character building and to provide service to all created beings, with the attitude of serving the indwelling God. In order to realize these objectives he enjoined his devotees to lead an ideal family life, to combine the power of spiritual associations and to share or exchange spiritual feelings among the disciples. Jaguru, to achieve the above objectives, he initiated thousands of interested men and women of all walks of life and taught them his spiritual practices. They were devoid of sectarian bias in that they did not provide a complete package of worship, prayer and meditation. He encouraged his disciples to meet periodically in groups of 3 or more to offer prayer and worship to the Guru, to exchange spiritual experiences and to chant Jaguru, a non-sectarian word he invented, meaning glory due to the Master. He instructed them to read spiritual books and devise ways and means for managing matha and ashrams and pledging to lead the life of a spiritually inspired ideal householder. He advised his disciples that the glory of God or Guru is experienced through the medium of the word Jaguru. One can reach at God through this name since God is the Guru or Master of the universe. People belonging to any sect or creed can accept this name without any risk to their progress in the religious life. Philosophy and teachings. Nigamananda was a sannyasi of the Adi Shankara cult. He studied Vedanta philosophy due to Shankaracharya after he was initiated as a sannyasi of that order. Nigamananda's core teachings were that Guru and Isha are identical and that disciples should adopt ideals of Lord Shankar and ideals of Lord Gaurang. He indicated that Shankar's disciplines were difficult and that Lord Gaurang offered an easier path. According to Nigamananda, Shankar and Gaurang provide a sweet combination of gyan and bhakti to lead the world in the right way. Nigamananda's philosophy and teachings as per Ketanananda Saraswati are explained here. Avatar and sadguru Nigamananda never admitted that he was God incarnate or an avatar, although many disciples fancied him as one. He stated that an incarnation is an exclusive descent of God on earth to uphold spiritual order. Although he could, the avatar ordinarily does not enlighten or guide individuals. Through his agency righteousness is established and demonic forces are destroyed. Nigamananda wanted to be treated as a sadguru who, on account of his quest over a succession of births and deaths, attain the knowledge of his sarupayana. Scriptural evidence shows that Gautama himself had to pass through many births before realizing the truth and becoming the Buddha. Nigamananda further pointed out that an avatar does not always remain in the state allowing Leela sadguru, Jagadguru and God . According to Nigamananda, the disciple should take his guru to be the Jagadguru and not an ordinary human being, in tune with Krishna's statement in the Bhagavad Gita. Patanjali's aphorism expands this idea, by contemplating on the form of one who has no attachments, concentration of mind is attained. Nigamananda advised his disciples to meditate on his physical form such that all the admirable qualities and attributes in him would get automatically transferred into their beings and fashion their souls. Further, he assured that because he had, by employing 3 modes of spiritual practice, simultaneously experienced the nature of Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan, he proclaimed that his disciples would simultaneously have such an experience. That, he said, was his only expectation from his disciples, and he would love to wait for the day to see that fulfilled. Order of spiritual attainments . According to Nigamananda, the theory of self-realization requires expanding the individual self to the status of the supreme universal self. The expansions can be directly practiced only by the most competent among the aspirant sannyasis by means of precise intellectual inquiry, analysis and deep meditation, although service to the master is the key to success in such pursuits as well. However, Nigamananda pointed out that true transcendental divine love and ecstasy could be properly experienced by the most fortunate ones only after they had attained monistic realization of the Supreme as declared by Lord Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita. Reconciliation of monistic and dualistic pursuits . Unlike saints who recognized and preached a diversity of doctrines for self/God realization and offered multiple paths to attain them, Nigamananda suggested the realization of the oneness of self and the supreme universal self as the true and the highest goal of human life. For most aspirants, the path is one of true devotion to the perfect spiritual master who initiates them. Rendering personal service to the master and invoking his grace through prayers, chanting and simple meditation are the chief modes of spiritual practice for them. they will acquire non-dualistic realization that their master is a realized soul and experience bliss due to intense love for him over the course of time, when they are enabled to participate in his leela for helping others. Nigamananda pointed out that the path shown by Gauranga, who practiced and preached unconditional devotion and love for God, was rather narrow, inasmuch as it was directed to Sri Krishna as the only God. In order to broaden that path, Nigamananda suggested taking the master as an embodiment of Sri Krishna, in which case the guide himself becomes the goal. In this way Nigamananda convincingly reconciled the two apparently contradictory creeds of Shankaracharya and Gauranga, who advocated the principle and practice of apparent duality between the devotee and God. After all, Nigamananda pointed out that in the path of devotion and love the aspirant has to subdue or tame his ego adequately, and hence he attains to the same stage as that of the monastic aspirant whose ego loses its identity on attaining to his goal. In the former case, the devotee's individuality is reduced to a trifle, overpowered by personal God consciousness, whereas in the latter the aspirant loses his self-consciousness in the ocean of impersonal universal consciousness. Janakakra, Nigamananda pointed out that although the doctrine of monastic Vedanta philosophy treats the supreme reality in terms of oneness of individual and universal consciousness, it does not systematically explain the structure of the material creation that is addressed by Samkhya philosophy. This latter does not treat the supreme reality as well. Similarly, whereas Christianity emphasizes service in surrender as means to God realization, the Indian philosophy of Paramahansa prescribes various rituals for the attainment of personal and collective happiness despite cycles of birth and death. By means of a Janakakra chart which he presented in a pictorial form, Nigamananda identified different layers of consciousness interwoven in the microcosm and the macrocosm and pointed out the levels that aspirants ultimately attain. In this chart he placed Sri Krishna and Sri Radha in the transition between the non-qualified Brahman and qualified Brahman, which he called Nitya or Bhavaloka. Other key teachings Other key teachings of Nigamananda as stated by Chetnananda Saraswati are, spiritual liberation requires the help of a liberated person. In the Hindu scriptures that person is known as guru. Without his grace or favor none can make progress. He who has attained the ultimate reality as one and the same as himself is the guru. The guru cannot be equated in importance to formal learning, pilgrimage or divinity. No other is more worthy of respect. The guru is the embodiment of what the Vedanta teaches. The individual self is one and the same as the cosmic self. A sadguru never curses anyone. Even his anger helps the disciple. The advantage of depending on a sadguru is unique and is superior to depending on God because God never materializes to give instructions. The guru and the disciple are inseparable in a way. The guru cannot exist without being a part of a true disciple unregistered trademark S personality or character. The two pathways to liberation are by initiation into and observation of the austerities of sannyasa yoga or by service to a sadguru. The former is extremely arduous. The disciple must in a sense die. In other words, he must lose body consciousness. But if one unconditionally loves the guru by way of rendering service to him sincerely, spiritual liberation may be obtained relatively easily. Nothing substantial can be achieved without guru unregistered trademark S grace. The mantra that guru gives during initiation and the disciple unregistered trademark S chosen divinity are the same. Unless the guru becomes the chosen divinity, the mantra received loses its power. Acquisition of disciples is not guru unregistered trademark S profession. It is his heart's inspiration. The guru cares for and guides the disciple, hoping that one day the disciple will get spiritually enlightened. The guru is the embodiment of both the monistic ideology due to the great Shankaracharya and love divine as preached by Sri Sri Gauranga Prabhu. As the disciple submits to the guru, his latent characteristics unfold. Spiritual life based on such a relationship can help harmonize the diverse faiths in the world. Yoga, Theories and Techniques. The following theories are collected from the Oriya book Sri Sri Thakura Nigamananda and the writer, Durgacharan Mohanty Banamurli Theory of Jyobanamukta Upasana One of Nigamananda's major precepts was the theory of Jivanamuktha upasana, which he believed could lead the sadhaka to quick self-realization. Karmic theory according to Nigamananda, karma is of three kinds, viz. Kriyaman, Sankita and Prabdha. Enjoying the results of one's labor while alive is Kriyaman. Death before enjoyment produces Sankita karma or accumulated labor. Enjoying accumulated karma after rebirth is Prabdha. By virtue of sajjana, the effects of Kriyaman and Sankita can be wiped out during a life, but it is not possible to erase Prabdha. A person possessed with worldly ambitions is sure to continue the endless journey of birth and death. Jivatma leaves the gross body to travel in the spirit world or Pratlok. After undergoing karmic effects, it returns to the physical world with a body for the fulfillment of desires from its prior incarnation. How it moves from one world to another is a mystery. Yogis can perceive the mystery and tell the past sanskar of jiva. On death Nigamananda's insight into death. Nigamananda said that one should remember that death is coming. Before working on good or evil deeds, one should also remember that death is not far off. Contemplating death drives away the desire for sensual pleasure and evil thoughts and stops acts of injustice. Attachment to wealth and relations will then diminish. Earthly matters remain even after departure from this world. Only spiritual wealth remains as an asset to the individual. Those who have puffed with pride on account of their accomplishments will submit to the god of death meekly when that hour comes. Drunk with pride, some persons ill-treat their brethren. They will be left in the deserted crematory ground with the beasts and birds joyously waiting to feast upon their flesh. Thinking of this will drive evil thoughts from the mind. Yoga Nigamananda wrote a great deal on yoga. His theories and techniques can be found in his book Yogi Guru. Samples. Hatha Yoga and Laya Yoga. Hatha Yoga can be carried out when the body is made fit for the purpose. The body should be cleansed first of impurities through sadhana, the 6 elementary practices of yoga. Hatha Yoga is completely different from Laya Yoga. Hatha Yoga can make the body strong, enabling it to survive for 400 years or more, whereas Laya Yoga helps the aspirant to attain union with the Supreme. If the body is not kept purified both externally and internally with Hatha Yoga, attempting Laya Yoga would yield no result. Dharana and Dhyan, Nigamananda taught that the breathing system is closely connected with the intricate workings of the mind. Therefore, practice of pranayama leads to calmer breathing and thereby maintains tranquility of mind. Mind is subjected to forces of disturbed thoughts owing to irregular breathing. He said, I had applied myself to the higher practices of yoga, thereafter, that is Dharana and Dhyan. The sadhaka is likely to peril his life if he does not take assistance of another during these advanced practices. During Dharana to the firsta, the sadhaka experiences his own progress, and when the estimated height in sajjana is achieved, he enters into successive steps of progress. While being absorbed in the practice of dhyan, the sadhaka may cross over to the state of samadhi. When he achieves this state of consciousness is not predictable. Until samadhi, the sadhaka gropes in the darkness aided by guru. Sampagyant samadhi, Nigamananda pointed out that if earlier practices are perfected, the succeeding steps yield lasting results. The sadhaka enters samadhi as a matter of his own experience, including the awakening of kundalini. The upward and downward motion of kundalini is called sampagyant samadhi. Works. Institutions founded. Guroil Yoga Ashram. Nigamananda founded his first yoga ashram in 1905 at Kodaldoa in Garo Hills, which is called now Guroil Yogashrama. His famous book Yogi Guru, was written and composed here in 14 days. Saraswati Matha. Nigamananda founded Shanti Ashram in 1912 at Jorhat to fulfill his 3 missions, to propagate Sanatana Dharma, spreading true education and serve everybody as God incarnate. He took a plot of land of Jorhat in Sibsagar district and founded this ashram there on Akshaya Tritiya, in the month of Baishakh. This was called a Oe Shanti Ashrama or Saraswati Matha, which went by the name of Assam Bengal Saraswati Matha in the later years. Rishi Vidyalaya was an important school founded under this matha for yoga training. Retirement Nigamananda initiated 10 devout disciples into sannyas in the tradition of the Saraswati by order due to the great Shankaracharya, the Jnani almost among whom was Swami Nigamananda Saraswati, and Swami Prajananda Saraswati. Swearing in Swami Prajanandaji as the Mahant and trustee of the Saraswat Matha and Ashrama establishments. Swami Nigamananda retired and resided in Nilashala Kutabpur in Parai for several years, till 1935. 100 years of Saraswati Matha this institution, Shanti Ashram, or Saraswati Matha founded by Swami Nigamananda in 1912, 1319 BS, reached its 100th anniversary on Akshaya Tritiya Baishakh, 2011, that is May 6, 2011. Nigamananda said, "This matha is very dear to my heart, I can sacrifice my life 100 times for the sake of this matha." Nilashala Saraswati Sangha. Nigamananda accepted Jagannatha culture and advised his disciples to worship him according to their state country's culture. He believed that Lord Jagannath is the symbol of truth. The day Sravan Purnima, on August 24, 1934 Friday, Nilashala Saraswati Sangha was established by Nigamananda at Nilashala Kutabpur, Parai. The Arya devotees gathered there to celebrate his birthday. He advised them to form a religious circle. As per his wishes, devotees started an association for religious talk, and thus Nilashala Saraswati Sangha came into existence to fulfill his tripartite objective, leading an ideal family life, establishment of combined power and sharing of feelings. Now Nilashala Saraswati Sangha has 12 branches: Kolkata, Jamshedpur, New Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bengaluru, Chennai, Surat, Pune, Ranchi, Rishikesh and Faridabad, outside Odisha, and one branch in USA. In USA, Nagam Smruti Munda 1040 Jarguru Laney Flan, North Carolina, 27244 http, jarguru.net/. Guru Brahma Ashrams. Nigamananda established Guru Brahma Ashrams where people from any faith can come and pray in their own ways. He instituted 5 ashrams in 5 divisions of undivided Bengal. They are Purba Bangla Saraswat Ashram at Moinamati, Komilla, now Tripura, Madal Bangla Saraswat Ashram at Kalni, Dhaka, now Pabase Thalibad Haman District, Utah Bangla Saraswat Ashram at Bogra, Paskima Bangla Saraswat Ashram at Karkusama, Midnapur, Dakhina Bangla Saraswat Ashram at Halisaha, 24 Paragons. Nigamananda installed Jagat Guru's Ashan, in 1915 at Kokilamark, Shahat, Assam, and established many ashrams and made thousands of disciples in the Guru Shaisya tradition. Other foundations, followers of Nigamananda, run Nigamananda education centers in Orissa, also schools and educational institutions around India. Publications Saraswati Granthavali. Nigamananda wrote and published a series of books, known collectively as Saraswati Granthavali. These are Brahmacharya Sajan, Yogaguru, Tantric Guru, Janiguru, and Prema Guru, which dealt with the fundamentals of almost all modes of sojourner prevalent in Sanatana Dharma. Nigamananda's followers believe that these books are useful to any faithful person and if practiced carefully will lead to success in spiritual pursuits. By Mohanty's efforts these books were translated from Bengali to Oriya. Oriya Darpan. Nigamananda also published Oriya Darpan, a monthly magazine on Sanatana Dharma, intended for disseminating non-sectarian spiritual knowledge among the masses. Many essays on important topics relating to religious and scriptural matters were included in this magazine. Thakura Shivi, advising his disciples, Nigamananda wrote letters, from which 100 are collected in a book called Thakura Shivi. This information was published in a Calcutta magazine Modern Review, founded by Ramananda Chatterjee, on December 26, 1938. Other Nigamananda collections are Mawakpa, Vedanta Vivkantatvamala. Bhakti Samilani. Nigamananda created an annual conference called Bhakti Samilani for householders and sannyasis, to strengthen prayer groups, discuss the importance of having a guru, review the well-being of sannyasis living in the ashrams, help solve problems pertaining to them and the ashrams as a whole, provide welfare, such as schools, for communities and to hold lectures by enlightened speakers on public spiritual life. Nigamananda categorized Bhakta Samilani into Sarvabhauma and Pradeshika. The first Sarvabhauma Bhakta Samilani was established by him at Kokilamuch in 1915. The first Pradeshika Bhakta Samilani was held in 1947 by Nilashala Saraswati Sangha, Pariyat Ankali in the district of Ganjam during full moon day of Maha. Nigamananda set a different prayer day for women disciples where they alone could participate and exchange their views. He said in one Samilani, "My devotees are fully aware that I am pleased to see them congregated in this Samilani, once in a year during Xmas. Such gathering would bring fame to the maths and it would also do good to the world at large." Legacy. Nigamananda Euro unregistered trademark S birthday is celebrated every year on Sravan Purnima Day at Nilashala Kutia in Arya culture. On August 10, 2014 his 134th birthday was celebrated at Nilashala Kutia. The 63rd Bhakta Samilani was celebrated in February 2014 at Padrak. See also, Shanti Ashram, Nilashala Kutia, Indian Yogis, Durgacharan Mohanty, Sri Anevan, Sri Chinmoy, Nigamananda Vidyapitha, Modern Review. References. Further reading. Books Bengali, Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Yoga Guru. Archive.org. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Jnana Guru. Archive.org. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Tantrika Guru. Archive.org. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Prema Guru. Archive.org. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Vedanta Vivka. Archive.org. English, Nigamananda. Divine Way of Life. B. Jain. ISBN 978-81-7021-911-8. Sarasvati Deva. Tantrika Guru. Saraswati Sangha. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Jnana Guru. Nilashala Saraswati Sangha. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Prema Guru. Nilashala Saraswati Sangha. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Yoga Guru. Nilashala Sarasvati Sangha. Nigamananda Sarasvati Deva. Brahmacharya Sajjana. Nilashala Sarasvati Sangha. Libraries English literature, The Divine Universal Gospels of Sri Nigamananda National Library, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, Sadguru Nigamananda, A Spiritual Biography / Moni Bagshay Hathi Trust Digital Library, Sadguru Nigamananda OpenLibrary.org, Arya Literature, Sri Thakura Nigamananda, Jogi Guru, Prema Guru Brahma College Library Act No. 1005, 1004 and 1003, Brahmacharya Sajjana and Gyani Guru Brahma College Library Act No. 2301 and 2302, Bengali Literature, Prema Guru Author, Paramahansa, Nigamananda, West Bengal Public Library Network, Yogi Guru Author, Paramahansa, Nigamananda, West Bengal Public Library Network. Lessons Sri Chinmoy Library Collections, My Guru is the Highest, Dream Becomes Reality, Temptation Power Almost Succeeds, Not the Outer Form, but the Inner Essence, Body's Beauty Fails. Soul's Beauty Sails, Divine Love Consoles Human Loss, Swami Nigamananda, The Master's Protection Arms, Attachment Cry vs Oneness Sky, A Mere God Lover. Letters Thakura Shivi, a collection of 100 letters written by Swami Nigamananda Paramahansa to his disciples, The Modern Review. External links, Nigamananda, a site developed by absmath.org, dedicated to his life, works, teachings and philosophy. Sadguru Nigamananda, A Short Life from Mumbai.webs.com, Sri Thakura Nigamananda Nigam Saja, a site dedicated to his life, Bani, ideals, philosophy, Samilani, Sangha, written books and about ABS Math, Asambanigya Saraswati Matha, Jayat. Sri Thakura Nigamananda NSS. a site dedicated to his life, Bani, ideals, philosophy, Samilani, Sangha, written books and about ABS Math, Asambhanagya Saraswati Matha, Jayat.